What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the Fight Station. It's been quite a while since I've done a video. Won't bore you with the details, just lots of other stuff in life going on. But we're back, as I say, and what a week to come back. The fight we've been waiting for God knows how long, 3, 4, 5 years. The best fight in all the boxing, in my opinion. I'm talking, of course, about the undisputed welterweight world title fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. With this fight, there's been a few points of conversation that sort of keep coming up. There's resume, the stylistic aspects of both fighters, who's going to be the bigger man in there. But one thing that I'm seeing being talked about more and more is the effect of the weight cut, particularly on Errol Spence. And that's something I think it would be good to talk about today. So Spence has always been known as a big 147-pounder. I remember the first Errol Spence fight I watched was, as probably is the case with a lot of UK and Irish fight fans, was the Kell Brook fight. That must be, 8, 9 years ago now, I want to say. And, even back then, Spence was huge at the weight. Kell Brook was always known as a big 147-pounder, and Spence was so much bigger than him then. And, as I say, you're talking 7 years since that fight. A lot of tough weight cuts. As you get older, you naturally fill out more, and those weight cuts become tougher and tougher. And you factor in the external factors away from the ring. Don't need to go into the car crash, how Spence was potentially living his life. Not so much recently, but maybe in those sort of younger years, sort of 28 to 31, 32. And you do wonder, I've seen a lot of photos and videos and interviews of Spence this week, and he is starting to look like someone who's going through a tough weight cut. And just as a caveat, fighters can have tough weight cuts and still produce excellent performances. Devin Haney, we all saw the photos of him going in the two fights with George Kambosos particularly, and then didn't look quite as bad for Lomachenko. And those Kambosos fights, Haney looked dead on the scales and produced probably the two best performances of his career, certainly up until that point. So it's not as if, even if Spence is having a tight weight cut, that it automatically means he's not going to be able to produce on the night. Fighters can refuel and replenish, and can sort of get close to 100%, but it is something to think about. And yeah, it's up against a fighter as good as Terence Crawford. You wonder, is it maybe just one weight cut too many for Spence? We saw the Ugas fight. Spence can be hurt. I maintain he was hurt. Was it the 6th round in that fight? Ugas, I think, let him off the hook. Whether that was down to weight cut or just being caught remains to be seen. He's already said, Spence, that he would like to go up to 154 pounds after this fight. If Crawford wins and Spence does decide to enact the rematch clause, Crawford will have full scope on what weight that takes place at. And I would imagine he would want to stay at 147 pounds. He obviously doesn't have the weight concerns that Spence does, but we shall see. As I'm recording this, it's 3 o'clock on Friday morning where I am, so the weigh-in's about 18 hours from now, so we'll get a lot clearer picture then. I hope both men are 100%. I think a fight as significant as this deserves both men to be at their best. They're as close to it as possible. So I'm not sitting here saying that I hope Spence is depleted, or that I'm just giving my honest opinion on what I've seen from fight week and sort of putting 2 and 2 together from, the factors I've mentioned, how long he's been cutting down to 147 pounds, just how big he is to the weight. Spence really is a massive welterweight. Crawford's not a small welterweight now. He's filled into the weight nicely, but Spence has looked a lot bigger at all the fight week events so far. And yeah, he's got the frame of a middleweight, to be honest. Spence could fight at middleweight, no problem, in my opinion. But anyway, as I say, starting to ramble on now. We shall see. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know who you think is going to win. There'll be more Terence Crawford, Errol Spence related content soon, I'm very sure, on the channel. But as you can probably tell, I'm getting very tired. The words are starting to get a bit jumbled. So we'll wrap it up there. Make sure to like, as I said, comment your thoughts on the fight, Spence at the weight, and subscribe to the Fight Station. Thanks very much, folks. We'll leave it there. Cheers.